This is Jackie, and I'm here with St. Lucia at day 2 of Bonnaroo. How are you doing so far?
I'm very good. How are you, Jackie?
I'm well. You're smart, as well as I am. Wearing white at a festival is very important in this 90-plus degree heat.
I feel like it's smart and really, really stupid because inevitably it's not going to be white by the end of the day, and especially by the end of the weekend. So we'll see what happens.
No, definitely not. Describe the sound on your latest release, Matter, for me. What does it sound like?
A lot of people have actually said it's a lot more 80s influence than our first album, When the Night, which is funny because when I was making it, I thought it was less 80s. I don't know. And I still kind of feel in a way that it's less 80s, but I guess, it's very lush, it's very full, it's like classicist in the sense that, everything was recorded live and there's a lot of different instruments playing, and I feel like a lot of pop music at the moment is very minimal. And I think that in that sense, it has contrast towards what's currently going on maybe.
So what are the benefits of recording live versus in a studio where they're stopping and starting and layering different sounds? What are the benefits of doing everything live?
Well, no, I mean, we recorded like in a studio and it was very much pieced together. It wasn't like a band in a room approach, which I would love to do at some point, but that takes a lot of time. I think, the difference between doing things the way we do and maybe just doing it maybe on like a laptop, just doing everything is I think you get a lot of randomness, that it's difficult to recreate when you're just kind of like in a computer and everything's sort of perfect, and like just a human being playing an instrument, even if you end up quantizing it a little bit or making it a little more perfect, there's still elements of imperfection in there. And I think we as humans, we react emotionally to imperfection, Yeah, I just think it's a very important part of music to have.
I would agree that there's definitely some beauty in our imperfections. I think we should embrace all of those things.
The whole beauty is our imperfections. If we were perfect, then, why would you even care?
So boring. What is a song or two that best represents your overall sound on Matter?
I would like to say, if I was going to say listen to one song from Matter, I'd probably say the song Home or The Winds of Change. And the reason, I would say Home first is just because it's a little bit progressive, it's poppy at the same time, and I think that's sort of the line that I like to tread in my music is, I love pop music, but I also love progressive and experimental music, and so I like to have both those things sort of present in whatever I do, and that song I think treads both those lines the most evenly, I guess.
Fair enough. Collaboration is also very essential on this album. Who have you collaborated with, and how has that been helpful?
I collaborated with a few different people. All of them, it's different levels of friend. We have different levels of friendship. So one of the guys that I collaborated with was Jack Antonoff from Bleachers. And that was really awesome, just very easy experience. I feel like we both come from similar musical places. He's a classicist in a sense, I think, as well. He's very influenced by Bruce Springsteen and I think sort of also the 80s and probably the 70s as well, and as am I. And I think we just kind of saw eye to eye and everything just happened very easy and very, very quickly. And it was basically the whole song was written in 3 hours. Which is very easy. And then I also collaborated with Tim Pagnotta, who is a really, really great songwriter. He's had so many alternative radio hits recently. It's crazy. And he just expressed interest in writing with me. And I was like, sure, I'll do it. And then we spent sort of 2.5 days writing Dancing on Glass. And at first it was really difficult because he has a very different approach to me. I feel like he's very focused on like having a specific meaning with the lyrics and with the song very early on, and I like to be a little more kind of scattershot early on in the process, so I'm not thinking too much about the details too early on. But I feel like both of our approaches sort of came together in a really good way in the end. And then there were other collaborations too, but I won't bore you with that.
Well, those are two really great examples. So how is Matter a departure from your last album, When the Night from 2013?
I think Matter is more confident than When the Night. When I think with most bands, when you're releasing your first album, it's like, when you kind of like move out of your parents' house for the first time, and you're just like going crazy, or you're self-conscious, or you're not quite sure of who you are as an artist yet. And then once that album's been out and people react to it, and I feel like people's reaction to it kind of almost is a mirror to you and lets you know, helps you figure out who you are more. And I think some people react more negatively towards that. But I feel like for us, having toured a lot supporting our first album, we just became more confident. I became more confident as a singer, as a performer. And I think it's just a little more bombastic and doesn't pull punches as much. You know, it's not trying to be atmospheric and dreamy and stuff. It's like there's definitely more kind of like smack you in the face moments than the first record.
And you're speaking definitely from experience. You've gotten your start sort of in a unique way involved in music, doing music jingles. How has that helped you in writing for yourself, for your own albums?
I think the best thing about being a jingle writer for the few years that I did it was just being forced to write in different genres that I would never have if I hadn't been forced to do that. Because, you know, when I started doing it, I was still pretty young and I had a very kind of narrow view of music and my taste was kind of very narrow. And from doing that and kind of, you know, being forced to write like an R&B track one day, a hip-hop track the next day, an orchestral track, then, you know, the next day, and then a country song, you know, would kind of... What I tried to do was kind of pay respect to those genres, and I would go and sort of do a bit of research about how they recorded and listen to a few different examples. And through doing that, I just was exposed to so much more music, and I was just forced to figure out how to write and record in different genres. And I think that what that's done is, like, I think if you look at St. Lucia, it's not like a one very narrow kind of like song that's replicated one after the other. It's like we have Love Somebody, which is very much like an R&B-ish song, you know, that then turns into this kind of Earth, Wind and Fire song at the end. And then there's just all these different kind of genres and sounds mixed up together, and that's what I love. I love juxtaposition in music, whether it's mood or instrumentation or, you know, thematically. Yeah, so I think that's what it helped me do. It just exposed me to a lot of different things, and that's what came together in St. Lucia.
Excellent. Well, speaking of juxtaposition in music, you've played Lollapalooza, you've played Coachella. Bonnaroo is also famous for the Super Jam, bringing musicians from completely different genres together. If you could collaborate with someone outside of your multi-genre music itself, who would you collaborate with, either here at Bonnaroo or elsewhere?
I mean, since we're in Nashville, I guess Dolly Parton would be awesome. Because I think she's an amazing songwriter, and Jolene's one of my favorite songs of all time. Yeah, so I mean that would be awesome. Dolly Parton collaboration.
That's a great one. So what's up next for you after Bonnaroo?
So we're unfortunately only here for today because we have sort of a mini tour. We're playing Firefly next weekend. Last night we played Birmingham, Alabama, and tomorrow we're playing in New Orleans, which is very exciting for me because it's one of my favorite cities in the world. So
lots of traveling. Stay hydrated.
I will try.
Lots to do. Stay tuned for much more from St. Lucia. This is Jackie. Thanks to In the Key of Change and Chorus.fm.